Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are undertaking a truly unique exploration.
We really are.
Forget your typical maps, forget historical documents. Our source material today is something far more evocative.
Far more abstract, for sure.
We're analyzing an olfactory portrait.
That's right. We are diving deep into Maremma, which is a coastal, really rugged region of Tuscany. And it's one that often gets, overlooked in favor of those classic postcard views.
Right, the rolling hills and cypress trees.
Exactly. And we're trying to understand its identity, its spirit, and its people, all through the lens of a single, very complex scent.
An extra de parfum from the Tiziana Terenzi Classical White Collection.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is, well, it's pretty ambitious. We're trying to unpack how a specific composition of molecules and resins can actually function as a detailed biography of a place.
How do you bottle history? How do you bottle the hard-earned pride of a landscape?
Yes. We're essentially learning how to use our sense of smell as a powerful tool for cultural research.
Yeah. And to do that, we first have to ground ourselves in Maremma itself. Because if you close your eyes and you imagine Tuscany, you probably see, like you said, those soft golden hills.
The classic image.
Maremma is. Well, it's the antithesis of that. It's historically been defined by tough, sometimes unforgiving terrain. We're talking valleys, wild hills, dense scrubland, a place of pristine wilderness.
It's the wild, untamed cousin of the Tuscany everyone thinks they know.
That's a great way to put it.
Historically, it was difficult to cultivate, and that toughness, it's reflected directly in the people who settled there.
Oh, absolutely.
Our sources describe them as strong, almost regal, immensely proud, and just.
Yeah.
Capable of thriving in a genuinely rugged environment. This isn't the gentle, cultivated heartland.
No, this is the force of nature itself. And this sense of force of history is absolutely anchored by the figure we really need to focus on.
The Butchero.
Butchero.
Maremma's legendary horseback herder. This figure is just. He's so essential to understanding the region.
He is the key.
Think about the cultural weight the American cowboy carries. That rugged individualism, the close relationship with the land.
Right.
That is the Butchero. You just swap the sagebrush for Mediterranean scrub.
And their history is ancient. I mean, the name itself is fascinating. It traces back to the Greek word bouturos.
Bouturos, okay.
Which just means oxen herder. So this isn't some modern job description. It's a lineage tied deeply to the ancient practice of managing livestock across this wild terrain.
And they live out there, right, camping in the wilderness.
Exactly. Their lives are marked by leather, by their horse, by wood smoke, and just the native plants all around them.
So the moment you introduce the Butchero, you're setting the stage for a scent that cannot possibly be just a light, airy floral. It can't be.
No way. If you're creating an authentic olfactory portrait of Maremma, you have to capture that sun-baked leather of the saddle, the physical exertion, the lingering smoke from a campfire.
And the powerful, enduring spirit of these people.
Absolutely. The Butchero is the cultural and physical anchor. If this fragrance succeeds, it has to embody that duality, the beautiful wild landscape and the tough, strong character required to master it.
And that brings us directly to the structural choice made here.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay, so let's unpack the technical choice because that really sets the stage. The scent is in this sleek black bottle, promising power and mystery, and it's labeled an extra de parfum. What does that tell us?
It tells us right away that they were not interested in telling a fleeting story. Not at all. The difference is all in concentration.
Okay.
Most perfumes you'll find are, eau de toilette or eau de parfum. That's maybe 5 to 15% fragrance oils.
Right.
And extrait de parfum is the highest concentration. It's typically 20% to sometimes even 40% essential oils and absolutes.
So structurally, Maremma is designed to last.
Precisely. High concentration means enormous projection. And crucially, it means the scent is heavily weighted toward the robust base notes. The resins.
So the story of Maremma, its toughness, its history, that's what endures for hours.
For 10, 12, sometimes 15 hours. The source confirms this, calling the final product incredibly long-lasting. That longevity. It mirrors the long, proud, enduring character of the Butchero.
That makes perfect sense. The structure itself is a metaphor for the region's resilience. Now, the source also highlights this critical duality in the profile itself. It's not just strong notes or just light notes.
No, it's a stunning balancing act. The fragrance combines two worlds. First, you have the natural beauty, the fruity and floral notes that are directly native to the Maremma landscape.
So that gives you the initial charm, the openness you might expect from a Tuscan scene.
Exactly. But if they stopped there, it would just be another nice floral.
And it wouldn't be Maremma. The contrast has to be visceral to capture the Boutroux.
And it is. The contrast comes from the dense grounding notes, the heavy woods, the resins, and most importantly, the leather tones.
So that reflects the earth, the forests, the equipment of the
The
herder.
sheer physical effort. The complexity of the scent profile is a direct reflection of Maremma's complex identity.
You just can't capture wildness and pride with simple, high-pitched notes. You need depth, you need weight, and a progression. So let's step into the architecture of the scent, the olfactory pyramid,
Yeah, let's walk through the experience.
starting with that immediate impression.
So think of the top notes as your first brisk ride out into the Maremma sunrise. These notes are volatile. They hit you first, they grab your attention, and then they start to fade.
And the opening here is bright, but also strangely grounded. We see familiar notes like bitter bergamot, which gives you that crisp Italian citrus lift.
Right.
Then the creaminess of yelling lang, some grass jasmine, and the tartness of black currant.
Okay, so that sounds like a very traditional, beautiful opening. A lovely, if maybe standard, sunny Mediterranean floral.
Exactly.
But here is the genius move. The detail that locks this scent immediately into this specific place.
The holm oak acorn.
The inclusion of holm oak acorn.
That's a fascinating, unexpected ingredient for a top note, isn't it? Acorns aren't what I think of when I think of brightness in a perfume.
Not at all. And it's there to stop the whole composition from just floating away. Holm oak is native and vital to that Mediterranean scrubland, the Macchia.
So what does the acorn note actually do?
Well, it's not a sweet, nutty smell. It's a green, slightly bitter, woody, and earthy signal. It's like smelling the damp, cool ground right under the oak tree canopy.
Ah, so it tells you instantly. This is not a garden.
This is a forest. It anchors the light florals to the raw earth of Maremma from the very first breath.
That's brilliant. A quick, sharp connection to the terroir before the scent even moves into its deeper identity.
Exactly.
So if the opening was the brisk ride out, the heart notes must be where we slow down and observe the details.
The heart is the narrative core. It's the longest lasting part of that mid-experience, and it's significantly more complex. We see angelica and orris root.
And that orris is critical, right?
Oh, it's critical. Orris, from the iris root, is one of the most expensive raw materials in perfumery. It's famous for smelling like cold, mineralized earth, dry powder, and even fine leather. It just solidifies that earthy connection.
And then we also see watery elements, like lotus and lotus wood. What's that about?
That suggests the varied topography of Maremma, perhaps the coastal parts, or the ancient marshlands that were eventually reclaimed. It adds a cooling, slightly aquatic complexity to balance the warmth that's gathering.
And the real cultural texture.
Wow.
It comes from the spices and sweeteners. Cumin and honey.
This blend is fascinating.
It is. Because on paper, cumin feels jarring. For a perfume about a beautiful Tuscan setting, it can give off a very animalic, warm skin impression.
And that's exactly why it works here. The cumin adds that necessary rustic warmth. It evokes the scent of the Buttereau after a long day in the saddle, the heat, the hint of animal hide and sweat. It's functional.
Not just decorative.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And then you contrast that with the richness of honey, which gives this thick golden sweetness. The combination is rugged beauty.
And holding all this structural weight right there in the center is agar wood.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I have to pause and ask. Agar wood, or oud, it's fundamentally an ingredient we associate with the Middle East, with Asian perfumery. Why bring such a powerful, non-native element into a portrait of Tuscany?
That's a really sharp observation, and it gets to the very nature of an olfactory portrait. It's not about botanical purity, it's about symbolic function.
Okay.
Agar wood is famous for its almost impenetrable strength. It's woody, dark, complex, and intensely enduring. It's used here not because it grows in Maremma,
But because it symbolizes the deep structural toughness and power required to thrive there.
Exactly. It's the backbone of the Buttereau's resistance and pride. It's a symbolic translation of character into composition.
Wow. Okay, so that 7-ingredient heart is doing massive work telling the story. So let's move to the final lingering impression, the base notes.
Right, and since this is an extra, these are the components that will define the scent for hours and hours.
The memory of the land.
The base is built entirely on depth, gravity, and resins. It ensures that memory of the land, the wood, and the leather never truly fades. You see classics like patchouli, sandalwood, rosewood, and the warmth of amber crystals.
The essential foundation.
But the true longevity, that balsamic quality, that sense of vintage antiquity that has to come from the resins, we see Cistus labdanum and Opanax listed here.
For listeners who don't know the difference, what do those two bring to the table?
Well, these are the heavy hitters. Cistus labdanum is absolutely essential for any high-end leather accord. It's sticky, smoky, deeply animalic. It instantly evokes the well-worn leather of a saddle and boots.
The smell of old, precious tack. And Opanax. It even sounds ancient.
It is often called sweet myrrh. Opanax is a balsamic resin. It provides a warm, almost chewy sweetness, and it gives the baize a vintage feel, a sense of history that's been preserved.
So if the labdanum is the leather,
The Opanax is the dusty, enduring quality of the butterose legacy. It's the smell of time passing slowly in the scrubland.
what a combination. That texture must be incredible. And then finally, we get to the very end of the base notes list, and there's an element that feels like a total curveball, cocoa powder.
It does seem like a dessert note, but we have to remember its functional role here.
It's not about sweet chocolate.
Definitely not. Pure, bitter cocoa powder in perfumery is an incredibly effective material for adding a dry, dark, slightly dusty texture.
So it's less about flavor, more about shade.
Exactly. It provides a deep, rich bitterness and darkness that reinforces the leather and the earth. It's the color brown, it's the smell of dark, dry, tilled earth, or the deep wear on the buttero's most cherished possessions.
It acts as the final profound anchor. It seals the complexity.
It does.
So if we synthesize this entire journey, we have 18 specific ingredients mapping out Maremma. From the high, bright air of bergamot and jasmine down to the absolute subterranean depth of Opanax and cocoa powder.
And the resulting balance is just remarkable. The designer successfully married the delicate, fleeting beauty of the native Tuscan florals with the rugged, dark, leathery, and deeply wooded life of the Butero.
It's a complete cultural and geographical biography delivered through scent.
It really is.
It truly tells a complete story about the history, the topography, and the specific people who define Maremma. It demonstrates that you don't need a tourist brochure to get a deep understanding of a place.
You just need the right perspective, and that's the real takeaway for you, the listener. We've used a fragrance, something seemingly purely sensory, to unlock historical and cultural insight.
It shows that knowledge is everywhere, even in the most abstract art forms, if we just take the time to deconstruct them.
I couldn't agree more.
This journey has given us a completely new way to consider heritage and place. And as we finish this deep dive, consider this provocative thought.
If the essence of a place like Maremma Tough, wild and lesser known, can be so powerfully bottled using structural elements like agar wood, the deep resin of Opanax, and that specific green bitterness of holm oak acorn,
What unexpected, non-obvious elements would be required to create the true and authentic olfactory portrait of your own life or your own hometown? What smells truly tell your unique story?